Hey everybody, this is Seth from Purpose Journal Live Sports and Gaming. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets. We're going to be talking about the Denver Nuggets, who analysts are considering the top two threats in the West of the Warriors. Now, those are both two great teams who have two great years this year. Denver is currently, I believe, tied or a half game back of the Warriors for the top seed in the West. I think the Warriors are going to go on a run a little bit here and probably get the top seed. But Denver has played great this year, especially at home. They're a team that is deep. And even though their starting lineup is great, their bench is also great too. They've got great guards. They've got great guys who come off the bench and who can defend, mostly at the guard position, but guys who can defend and score, especially Malik Beasley. He's been a guy this year who off their bench has just played great. He's shot the three great. And I remember watching a game between Houston and Denver, which Houston was up big, and then once that bench came in for Denver, they shot Houston off the floor. And even though this was in Denver, to me that was a huge game. I think was it in? No, I think it was in Denver. I'm not sure. I should probably look the game up, but it was an entertaining game. And that to me signified that they can actually beat Houston, to me, if their bench is firing on all cylinders along with their offense. Now their offense is great because they have Nikola Jokic who can do everything. He can rebound, he can score himself, he can shoot the three, he can post up, he can hit the mid-range, he's a great free throw shooter, he can pass. He's probably a top 5 playmaker in this league, hands down. Not even just at the center position, but he's just a great passer. Then you have Jamal Murray, their point guard, who's kind of like a combo guard, more a combo guard than point guard, but he can play make. He's a great shooter. Not a great shooter, but he's a really, really good shooter. About to be a great shooter if he keeps improving. He's fearless, and he just loves to play. I'm actually a big fan of his. You have Gary Harris at the 2 guard. They got a lot of options on offense. Paul Millsap at the 4. So it's a great team. Their bench is deep, like I said. But to me, the strength, that one of their weaknesses, is their interior defense. Now, Nikola Jokic, I said, is great, but he's great offensively. Now, defensively, he's going to stand there, put his hands up, and contest shots. But he's not a rim protector. He's not a shot blocker. And they don't really have shot blockers on their bench either. That's one thing to me that is a concern, because to me in the playoffs, which to me is why Golden State has been dominant this long, is they've had, no matter what, they've always had a rim protector on their roster, whether it be Andrew Bogut, their first 2 runs in the finals, whether it was JaVale McGee their last 2 times in the finals. And rim protection is huge, because you don't want guys just running in the lane, because if 3-pointers aren't falling, you're going to try to go to the rim. And if you don't got a rim protector, it's going to be a tough night defensively. And if you're not scoring too and you're allowing point paints, then that's when the 3s start to fall. And you don't want that in the playoffs, because to me, if you got 3 bad nights, then you're out in the first round, second, third. It doesn't matter what round it is, you're out. So to me, their interior defense has got to improve. And even though Mason Plumlee, their backup center, to me is a better rim protector, to me he's not like a premium rim defender or a premium backup where he's just like he's going to go in there, he's got a lot of energy even though he does, and just block shots. They don't really have that. But to me, that's really their only weakness, because they hit a lot of shots, even though to me they're not streaky. They hit a lot of shots, and they're offensively great, and they can run up and down because they got a deep bench. So that's a great team. Now on to Houston. Everybody knows James Harden, the reigning MVP, probably the best offensive player in the game today, even though you could probably say he can make a run for Steph Curry, even though I think Steph Curry could be up there with him, Kevin Durant, because he's Kevin Durant. Giannis, great offensive player, but James Harden, the way he draws fouls, his side step back 3, man, that guy's a load. He's a load to deal with. You got Chris Paul, a great field general, which is a guy who just he just leads. Not only does he lead by example, but he's always talking to players and he's always directing players, whether he's on the bench or he's on the floor. Just a great leader. You got Clint Capella, their center. He's a great rim runner. He blocks shots. He's a great defender. And he also rebounds. He's one of the best rebounders in the league. Just pure rebounders. Offensively, they're a great team. I like their system because what they really do, you got two options. Layups, dunks, or threes, which a layup and a dunk is worth 2, so I just put those as 1. And then layups, dunks, three-point shot. It's efficient because it's only 2 options, and it limits the mistakes that you make if you're trying to do all this, step back mid-range shots. It's simple. One of my concerns is they're a streaky team shooting. They have bad night shooting and they have good night shooting, which is a problem. And it's a problem not really in the regular season, because regular season, it's, to me, that's kind of like a long preseason, even though you're actually playing for seeds in the regular season. But it's like a long preseason at the beginning, and then in the later half of the All-Star break, then you're playing for something more. So being streaky, to me, it's hard to consider you a threat sometimes to the Warriors, because in the playoffs, when you got play one night and then take a night off, then you're playing again. So a lot of times those bad shooting nights kind of continue because you're playing the same team, and they know your tendencies, they know what you like to do. And when in the regular season, you're playing different opponents, different nights of the sometimes back-to-back different opponents. So playing Golden State, that's going to be a problem, because not only is Golden State great in the interior now because of getting Andrew Bogut, and they're getting healthy. They're getting back into shape, to me. But perimeter-wise, they can get out there and they can defend. So Houston, in particular, James Harden, being streaky, it's a cause for concern, because at the wrong time you get streaky, that can cost you a playoff series. Because like I said, for Denver, 3 bad games in that 4th game, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. You could win that game, but then again, you're probably going to be out the next game after that. So Houston is great defensively again. I think they've stepped it up, and they're getting hot, and they've been hot for like the last 2 weeks, which is good time. It's always good when it's late February and then you're going into the playoffs. That's a great time to get hot. Even at the beginning of April into the playoffs. So they're peaking at the right time, but it can always be 3 bad shooting nights when you kind of get knocked out of the playoffs. So that's that's my main concern for Houston, is James Harden's streakiness when he's not hitting shots. He's a guy that you can take out of the game that way if he's not hitting shots. Even though he can get to the free throw line and make free throws and get to the rim, but if he's not making threes, he's a guy you can kind of take out of the game. So for Houston, my main concern is James Harden's streakiness and the whole team shooting, because sometimes James Harden can have a carryover effect. And then for Denver, they've really got to shore up their interior defense. And then playing on the road is going to be huge, because they're a great home team. Playing on the road, they've been just above 500. And in the playoffs, you got to play 2 at home and 2 on the road if you want to sweep. So they want to be a good team, and they want to get far and get to the West Conference Finals. You got to be able to play on the road. So that was my take on both Houston and Denver. Those are 2 great teams. And thank you guys for listening. This is Seth again from Purpose Driven Live Sports and Gaming. I'll talk to you guys again.